I don't know exactly what to say. That was not what I expected. I have a way harder time starting this because I'm the extrovert, Brigitte's the introvert. But when she talks to the camera, she feels like there's nobody there, which is helpful for her. When I talk to the camera, I feel like there's nobody there, which is like really hard for me. So I'm gonna try to imagine that you guys are on the other side of this and actually care about what's going on, because it's been kind of insane. And Brigitte is putting the kids down. We don't have a video ready, and this is Thursday, and this is gonna come out tomorrow, and we didn't do it on Tuesday because life's been crazy. So I'm just gonna do this myself and talk to you guys about what's been happening. You may have watched this previous video where we talked about what's been happening with my health and the fact that basically I'm out on short-term disability right now. That's about to run out. That's a whole other conversation. Basically, there was this excruciating pain that I couldn't get rid of, and that would come and go and come and go and get worse and longer each time it came, and less responsive to medication, including like really strong steroids. And some doctors thought they had some ideas when I went on short-term disability because I was missing work. First, I went to 2 orthopedists. The first one was like, oh yeah, let's cut you. You have something torn, but the MRIs didn't actually show that. He just wanted to cut things, I think. The second one was like, yeah, you don't have that. You have a rare autoimmune disorder called Parsonage-Turner syndrome, and you need to go to see a neurologist and a rheumatologist. So I went to the neurologist, and he stuck me with a lot of things, and basically that wasn't that. And the rheumatologist was like, yeah, you have rheumatoid arthritis. Well, that was like where we were the last time we did the video, and then I did a bunch of tests, and that rheumatologist, she was wrong. And well, she said, no, you don't have rheumatoid arthritis. It doesn't look like that from the basic blood tests and the MRIs and stuff. But also, I did all those tests when the pain had gone already, which took weeks to go away. And she basically said, come back to me when you're in pain. We'll figure it out. And guys, this pain was horrible. Like and it wouldn't stop. I couldn't do anything, and I can't go back and live that way. So I sought, again, a second opinion. Second opinion orthopedist guy helped. Second opinion rheumatologist, right? So I found the best guy I could find. Everybody recommended him. And I got in. And I got into a new GI, which is a whole other thing we'll talk about. And I got into an endocrinologist. She thinks there's nothing endocrine going on with me, but I do have a bone scan coming soon. That should be interesting, maybe. The new rheumatologist was like, oh, well, let me look at you and ask you a million questions, which means he's thorough, which I really appreciated. And he looked everything over, and then he's like, hey, lay down on the table for me. So he laid me down on the table, and he started like poking like random spots, like my tibia and like my shin, and in my like traps, and then like in my scapula, and then like in my joints and stuff. And he starts moving my bones around, and he's like flexing my thumb. I'm like, oh, I can go the whole way. He's like, yeah, I know you can. Apparently this is not normal. I didn't know about that. I just thought it was cool. Apparently it's not normal. So I have hypermobile joints. Okay, I'll believe that. I'm far more flexible than I should be for a gentleman of my size. So I'll believe that, hypermobile joints. All right, what else? So that's 1. 2, he said you have, and I couldn't remember till I did the follow-up visit today, central sensitization syndrome, which I asked more about like what that actually meant today. And they said basically it's fibro, it's fibromyalgia. And I looked it up and it's like ish, like maybe fibro is a subset of that. If you're a doctor and you're watching, please give clarity on that. That would be super cool. But yeah, this central sensitization syndrome, they're not sure. More tests. They sent me for a bunch of more blood tests, did 20-something x-rays, and they all came back inconclusive, which is super cool. There was one blood test they had to put like on ice and send to the one lab, I guess, that did it in Utah. And that came back like low incidence of rheumatoid stuff. So they're like, oh, it's not that. But I had a follow-up today. Oh, and the other thing might be palindromic rheumatism, which I know what a palindrome is. This is a palindrome. And this is a palindrome. And this is a palindrome. Cool, love palindromes. So basically it means like it comes and goes, like, and they don't know why. And it can be bad and hurts a lot. The central sensitization syndrome. Basically, like my nervous system is hypersensitized to pain, which like, okay, yeah, that makes sense because it was really quite horrible. So like if there's pain or stressors and stuff that can hurt it. Okay, so that's the pain part. The other part is I have a GI issue. I don't know if I've really talked about it ever on here. It's called Barrett's esophagus. Spelling here in post. It is my understanding, basically, the tendency of cells in my esophagus to mutate into dysplastic cells, to have dysplasia, and that can cause esophageal cancer, so they have to monitor it every 1 to 3 years through an upper endoscopy. They shove a camera down my throat and look at things and take biopsies and samples and such. And they found that when I was 14 years old, which is really intriguing to people. They are surprised when they hear about that, always. And so I have been on proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, so Prevacid, Nexium, now Dexilant, for like 20-something years. And that's not good. Apparently they were like safe and effective. I've heard that before about things. Turns out over time, there's a lot of potential side effects. Like people are apparently getting lupus because of them, and like osteoporosis. Oh, and apparently the radiologist at my wife's job said my bone marrow looks like that of a 70-year-old. So that's a thing. There's just a lot, guys. So she said I really need to get off the medicine, which is keeping the acid from going into my esophagus and causing more damage potentially by like keeping me from having stomach acid much, like very little. And that's bad because your body like needs acid to like derive minerals and nutrients from food. Makes sense, I get that. And she said, well, here's some surgeries that you can look at. And I'm like, oh, great, okay, they can fix it. I had no idea. And then I started like looking into these things, and there's a fundoplication, which is like where they take your stomach and wrap it around your esophagus, tighten, to keep acid from coming up. You know what else it can do? It can keep you from ever being able to vomit or belch again, and that's like a coin flip likelihood of that happening. So that's a thing. You're like, oh, that's awesome. No, no, no. Not that you won't need to, just that if you need to, you can't. Like if you got food poisoning, you just can't. So that could be really bad. And like I could be here another 50 years, God willing. That's serious. That's a major issue. Also, swallowing can be a major issue. And if it goes bad, it goes bad. And like, there's other surgeries to fix it. There's a newer device, which is like a magnetic ring, a Lynx thing, where they put like on the top of your stomach and it like holds it closed. Can have similar side effects. Also, I may not really be a candidate for it. There's a lot of questions in that. And then there's like a hiatal hernia surgery. All these things are drastic. And like, if I've got a rheumatic or autoimmune, well, I have autoimmune issues apparently, I just don't know which ones exactly. But like those are gonna require drugs, and this other thing I'm on has drugs, and then like, there's a major surgery for it. It's just a lot, right? And my wife, Brigitte and I know I say my wife a lot. That's what we call each other, wife, husband. Brigitte and I have had a lot of conversations lately just about priorities and what matters in life. And I was listening to somebody recently talk about how we grew up in this society where we're told that we need to have money to have a certain lifestyle. What happens is we have time, like we all have time. We all have different amounts, we don't know how much though, that's the cool thing, we don't know, right? So we have time, and we exchange time for money, right? And we exchange money for things, stuff. Stuff does not exchange for time. You can't get time back for stuff. Nothing can exchange time back. And I think I've got a full life to live. I think we're gonna figure this out. I don't know, maybe there'll be a lot of pain in it though, right? Maybe I don't. How will I live out my time that I have? And I've gotten to spend some time with my family, and that's been great. And one of the things that has come out of this with these doctors is they're like, well, this is a thing that is underlying, you've got a lot going on and we're figuring it out, but something caused it to like snap, right? What's the thing that causes these flare-ups? And there's a general feeling that it's probably a stress thing. Vulnerability, that's hard for me to accept because I feel like I ought to be able to handle it. I'm the man of my house, and I'm supposed to take care of stress with aplomb and not be seen feeling it, right? Some of that's me, so I gotta like deal with how I process stress, but this isn't like a switch I can flip, and it won't change the fact that my calling in life is to ministry, and where I am is very, there's a lot of things that are pressing that I care about, and maybe too much, right? That's on me. There's just a lot there. And so I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what's going on. I am thankful to our leadership for the disability insurance we have, because like probably if I go back, the pain comes back. And if the pain comes back, I again can't be a dad or a husband. And those are my favorite jobs I've ever had. So I don't know what to do. We're figuring that out. I would say lots of guesses, very few yeses is where we are right now. But at the same time, I know God's working in this. And I know that there's a reason that this is happening. I know that we're gonna learn, and we have learned something out of it. I know that He's got a purpose in it, and He's gonna use it. And I don't know what you're going through, where you are, but I just want you to know that He has a purpose. I'm not pretending to know it. I'm not saying it's not gonna suck. This sucks right now. I can actually feel it, these like twinges of things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's coming back, and it was so bad. And I don't want to ever feel that again. But I'm a different person now than I was 2 months ago. And I gotta think He's in that. I think my kids have experienced my presence and love in ways they never had before in the last 2 months. And like when my daughter got sick, I was home and I could take care of her. That was amazing. And my wife didn't stress about it. Turns out she doesn't like resent the time she spends at work. She resents that she can't be at home taking care of the family, and I was able to help a lot with that. So like there's been a blessing in this season too. It's just not what we expected. And whatever you're struggling with, whatever that is, just know there is something in it for you. If nothing else, than to be the example for other people that if you can make it through it, they can too. And maybe I can do that for someone, because I know that there are some people right now that I'm looking to as an example. If they can get through it, maybe I can do it. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being our community. If there's something you like that we've done, would you please share it with a friend? We really want to build the community, and we want more people to be able to get access to the content we put out, and we're just so thankful for you guys. I keep saying that. Anyway, until we meet again, don't forget, life is better together.